This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted as always to be joined by the smooth voice of boxing, John Rawling. We're here in Las Vegas. Well, I think it's John Rawling, but you're not wearing a suit and a tie. So who is this imposter in front of me?
Well, give me time. I'm casual. I didn't think I was doing anything to camera, but here I am. Just goes to show I have got some normal clothes.
Yeah, for people who are wondering, John Rawling doesn't live 24/7 in a suit and tie. How are you, John? Nice to see you.
Good. I was just thinking, I first came to this city for a world heavyweight title for Frank Bruno and Mike Tyson, which was February the 25th, 1989. And here we are in 2020, 31 years later, and it's a tremendous fight. It really is. I mean, this has got the old juices going of it. It promises to be special.
Now, of course, you commentated and worked the first fight, now a fight that's sort of etched into heavyweight folklore, really. Looking back at that fight, it seems a little bit surreal, but everything that's happened in between now and this fight coming in, how much are you taking from that first fight coming into this, considering everything that's happened in between?
I think most of the things that have happened in between, there are some major talking points, like the change of trainer, but I think most of the things which have happened in between really haven't changed anything from the first fight. I think you've got a fitter, better prepared Tyson Fury this time, and you've got a Deontay Wilder who knows now a little bit more about what he's going to be up against. A Deontay Wilder who's going to be more measured. I think that's kind of the differences that you're seeing. But is it going to be a different fight? Well, time will tell, but I think we know what it is. It's boxer on one side, puncher on the other side. Is it going to be a more aggressive Tyson Fury, as he says? Is that just words? You know, it's got so many talking points. It's fascinating, and that's what makes a great heavyweight title fight. Because, you know, whatever anybody says, one way or the other, you can't look at it and say you're talking crap. Because that's not the way it is. You can make a very persuasive argument for either man, and they, I think, both genuinely believe that they're going to emerge from this as the winner.
You mentioned the change of trainer. Let's just touch upon that. Of course, Ben Davison, now no longer with Tyson Fury, he's employed the services of Sugar Hill Stewart and Andy Lee. Were you surprised?
Very, very surprised. Although, having said that, having heard the words of Tyson's father, Big John, after the last fight, when he said, and I quote, "If he carries on like this, he'll ruin him," I think clearly there's been a bit of input from that side, and I think John still packs a punch in the planning of Tyson Fury. Tyson's his own man, but he'll listen to his dad. And Big John wasn't impressed with what he saw in the last fight, and I think as a result of that, Ben's days were maybe numbered. But you know, he played such a key role in getting Tyson back to fitness, having been out in the wilderness. You know, you just wonder, because he's not only a trainer, he is a great friend. So what effect that's had? They're talking about greater punch power. All Stewart fighters have been punchers over the years, and Sugar Hill, you know, follows on in that tradition. But whether or not it's in Tyson's best interest to get in there and try and say he wants to meet fire with fire, I'm not convinced.
You've mentioned we've mentioned the change in trainer and kind of the shift in emphasis, if we are to believe what has been portrayed in the media about him sitting down on his shots and potentially trying to knock Deontay Wilder out early. But there's also the argument that if it's not broke, don't fix it. A lot of people felt that Tyson Fury won the first fight and won the first fight well, albeit but for the knockdowns. Is it a risk changing a trainer, considering the fact that many people felt that he won the first fight?
Well, I believe it is, yeah. I think it is. But having said that, if he is the superior boxer and he's creating openings, there is an argument that having created those openings, you've got to maximise the opportunities that are presented to you. And that would be, I'm sure, what Tyson would say, what Andy Lee would say, and what Sugar Hill would say. You know, he can outbox him. So having done so, you have to make the most of the opportunities which come your way. But sitting down in your shots is all very well, but if it then, by doing so, creates the opportunity for Deontay Wilder to land that huge right hand, then is it a wise strategy? You know, we'll find out very soon.
Now, I, like many people, have gone back and rewatched certainly that 12th round numerous times. You were there, you lived it, you commented on it. What was going through your mind when Fury not only went down but somehow emerged from that knockdown?
Well, you've heard the words, you know. I mean, it's been all over the place, and I guess it's one of those rounds which will be played forever. You know, it's sort of a get in there, Frank kind of moment, isn't it, for Harry Carpenter? But you know, I couldn't believe that he got up. When he went down in that final round, I thought, that's it, he's out. And then to get up as he did, you know, rise at, what was it, the count of 8 or something, get up and beat the count. And then not only beat the count, but having covered up for a few seconds afterwards, he went on to win the rest of the round. It was absolutely extraordinary. It is one of the most dramatic rounds I've ever commentated on in the thousands and thousands of fights that I've commentated on over the years. It was just amazing. And I still kind of pinch myself to believe that Tyson actually did what he did.
I'm the same. Every time I watch a replay of him getting knocked down, I'm still surprised. We're over a year away from it, that he actually gets up.
And didn't that look of Deontay Wilder where he's giving it sort of, yeah, I've done it, and then he looks and he goes, what? You know, I mean, that just said it all, didn't it? Said it all.
Much has been made about Tyson's last fight against Otto Wallin. Of course, he suffered a terrible cut in that fight.
Yeah.
What did you make of Deontay Wilder's last performance against Luis Ortiz? Obviously, it's a rematch, somebody he's beaten previously, lost pretty much every round up until he landed that right hand.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's what you expect. It's the way he fights.
Going into this fight, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, would the winner of this fight emerge as the number one in the division, in your opinion?
In my opinion, emphatically so. But having said that, you know, whether or not the rematch clause is going to be triggered by whoever loses this fight, because it is written down that there can be a third fight if the beaten man wants it. If that's not triggered, then obviously it's going to be moving towards a potential showdown with Anthony Joshua, which would be huge.
Which fight would you rather see? Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, well, I guess 3.
I'll see either of them. I don't care. I'm just excited about this one. I mean, any fight, any heavyweight fight, has to go an awful long way to beat the excitement potentially of this one. I think this is possibly exceptional.
And just finally, before I let you go, I promise I'll keep it between us, but do you have a final prediction?
Well, I've said all along, and I still very much believe it, the closer that I come to the fight, that it's Tyson Fury's to lose. You know, he's the better boxer. He's already, in my eyes, beaten him once. So it's whether or not he can do it again. If he sticks to his game plan, and if he does what we know he's capable of doing, I think Tyson Fury can come out of this as the winner and be looked on by the boxing world as the world number one.
Considering everything he's gone through in his career, coming back after a terrible time away from the ring, all right, he didn't get the decision in the first fight, but in many people's eyes, he won the first fight. Where would this rank in kind of heavyweight comebacks?
Well, it's right up there, isn't it? You know, you talk about, I guess, George Foreman's perhaps the biggest before this, going back and winning the world title at the age of 45. But I mean, George, although he put on a few pounds and he was away from the ring, he never got into the sort of state that Tyson was in. And to come back as he has done, and to potentially be top of the pile again, I think he's right up there with one of the great sporting comebacks, never mind boxing comebacks, one of the great sporting comebacks in any sport of all time.
Okay, well, John Rawling, always a pleasure catching up with you. Almost didn't recognise you without your tie on. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. I look forward to catching up with you soon.
No problem. Cheers.
Cheers.